Law and order. You're talking about a hard job. I've covered many hard jobs in this series, but this one was really something. Brownsville in South Texas was, actually there was a quote in the Berlanger Diary at the time of the Civil War that stated that Texas was the most lawless state in the Confederacy, and Brownsville was the rowdiest city in Texas. The first police station, if you could call it that, was in the 1850 town hall. It was City Hall, combination city, marketplace and City Hall, and that was built in 1852. We had a little nook that was over on the north end, and that was just a desk and a holding cell, somewhat similar to what we have here. And of course the court was right next door, so it was a quick shift to get the prisoners off into that cell. The policing of the town at that time, there again, the recruits that were brought in for, as you call, policemen or patrolmen, were under the power of the marshal. And then there was a lieutenant of the police. That didn't come about. We didn't even have a police force until 1891. We didn't have a uniform until 1905. Matamoros had one had a uniform in 1901. But what was the essentials of how you were dressed at that time? Well, you probably had a hat. You didn't have a gun because the only one that had that was the lieutenant of the police. And you had a chicote, you had a nightstick, and you had a whistle. The whistle was the early walkie-talkie. We didn't have all the modern accoutrements that we have nowadays. There was a series of tweets that one officer from one precinct would pull on his whistle, and the other officer would understand this. And of course we had the town bell. When that bell was clanking, that meant that everybody came out of their houses and assisted in the law effort. Going up later into the 20th century, the police station, as I say, took place at Market Square. And then when Fort Brown was turned over to the city in 1946, our headquarters was right at Fort Brown. And then it moved on to Washington Street in the 60s, and then it went on to Jackson Street later on. We've come a long way over this period of 130-something years of having a police department. But it was by necessity, right? If this officer were to go back into the time of the beginning of the valley in Brownsville, it would be like a person from Mars coming upon the scene. But we have evolved. We have done what was needed in order to fit the atmosphere of what the peacekeepers were put up against. And the rest is history. For KVEO News, I'm Eugene Fernandez.